I'm lit. Can't nobody question, I'm legit. I've been on the move. Make it do what it do. Ain't got nothing to prove. Redefining the cool, hey. I don't keep my drama or my feelings in a bottle. Take a shot, no drama, just want you to know what I know. It don't last forever, promise it gets better. You've been through the biggest storm, but you can change the weather. Been under pressure, you know my name. Whenever the heat comes, I put out the flame. It made me a diamond. It made me a diamond. It made me a diamond. Oh, you know my name. Sparkle, sparkle. Sparkle, sparkle. Sparkle, sparkle. Hey, sparkle, sparkle. Focus on your mission and get to your bag. Get to your bag. Look for the vision you got. And they say you get it, your haters get mad. Focus on your mission and get to your bag.
Kris the Critic Relationship Hour with Gina B. Why you are not married. Number one, you ain't all that. I know that's hard for y'all to swallow. I don't look as good as my 22-year-old self. People need to realize that. You just ain't all that. And I get it. I got this master's degree. I went to this school, that school. I worked hard for this job, for this house. And then she over there got that man. And you don't have one. Men are very simple creatures. So, ladies, for you very accomplished ladies, I got some advice for them.
What's that?
I always say it like this. You can write this one down. Be a kitten, not a cat. What does that mean, Kris?
What does that mean?
You ever played with a kitten? It's real friendly. It almost acts like a puppy. And you want to play with it. You want to come look at the little kitty. It just makes you feel good. Now, have you ever seen an adult cat? When it feels like it, it might rub against your leg and move away. But is that men like kittens?
Kittens will play with anybody. A cat is particular.
Listen, what did we learn? Men are very simple creatures.
Right.
You can fool us. We want you to laugh at our dumb jokes. So all you super smart women out there, you good-looking women, you see a guy you like, you guys do make it out on a date. He actually pays for the date. When you're actually with that person, the dialogue is happening, the dinner is happening. You say, okay, this might work, this might work. It would help if you act a little blind.
Oh my God, Becky.
I mean, you're going to hear me say that a lot. I mean, be nice to
So
him.
you
hear the worst joke ever. But if you sort of like them, laugh at it. There you go. Hey, it's a lot of married women out there. If we got any married women chiming in.
Look,
if I'm telling a lie,
that one's a fake laugh.
Let me know. Right.
What you're saying is that we should cater to the male ego, and that's what's ultimately going to get us married.
I'm first saying recognize that I think some of us, more women than men, look in the mirror.
Uh-huh.
You ever seen a little lion look in the mirror and see somebody real big? They see somebody a little more fine than what they are. And I'm not calling anybody ugly, so I'm not here to bash anybody.
Let's look at Middle America, okay? Middle America is not attractive.
They're not?
Middle America is largely married.
Okay, I think we're on the same page then. People sort of... We get stuck to reality shows sometime and think we're supposed to have, I got a degree in a house, so I'm supposed to have Idris Elba or his twin.
Well, I mean, have you noticed, okay, so you remember your friends from high school, right? And you remember how they had all of these qualifications for, if she's going to lock me down, she got to be this, that. She's got to have an ass like that.
That's all we really looked at. Stop right there. You had me at that's really... What are men? Simple creatures. We want to be fed. We want you to laugh at us, give us some, and that's it.
But why money ain't free? Why can't you just give it to me? I don't want to work for nobody. I'd rather keep doing me. Why money ain't free? Why can't you just give it to me? I don't want to work for nobody. I'd rather keep doing me. Why money ain't free? Wake up in the morning with a frown on my face, cause I know it's another day that I gotta face now. For people I don't wanna see, working at a job that I don't wanna be, breaking my back to the bone with nothing to show. But I got dreams and goals, but as soon as I clock in, I'm ready to go. So there's one thing I gotta know: my money ain't free. can't you just give it to me? Give it to me.
What's happening, people? It's your boy, Kris, the critic of the Kris and Gina Relationship Show. Happy Tuesday. Now, don't tune out. I know my better half, my better looking half, Gina B, y'all know she's the baller. She's traveling. So I'm handling this solo. So that means I can say what I want to say. She can't police me. I'm a little hoarse, but I got a cocktail. This show is brought to you by Cavent. Some good stuff. It's made with the finest grape, aged 10 years in French oak barrels. If your local liquor store doesn't have it, tell them to give me a shout. Anyway, folks, it is already day 56. We are almost 2 months into the year. It is National Clam Chowder Day, for anybody who cared. It's National Chocolate Covered Nuts Day. Not chocolate nuts, chocolate covered nuts. Da-da-da-da. Anywho, should you get married or not? Now, I can stop the show right here and say, it's a 50% chance of divorce out here. Would any of us jump out of an airplane with a parachute if it was a 50% chance that it wouldn't open? Probably not. That means love must be a powerful thing. I'm getting some words from the producer. Yes, sir. Sorry?
Are you ready for the first video?
No, sir. I'm still saying hello. Producer's a little antsy when Gina B is not here. It's like he doesn't even want to be here, you know? I don't even know why I do the show. She's not here. We'll talk about the current landscape. But since we might touch on some touchy subjects, we'll have a quick video, and then we're going to get it cracking on the Kris and Gina Relationship Show with Kris the Critic. Don't move. I'll be back in about 42 seconds.
I feel like a loser, man. I am, man. I'm fucking 36. I'm not married, you know? I'm at that age where everybody I know is getting married. You know, let me ask you a question. Why the hell do people keep getting married? You know, isn't anybody looking at the stats? I mean, what's it like? 1 out of 2 marriages goes right down the shitter? People, if you were going skydiving and they told you half the parachutes weren't going to open, you'd be like, yo, fuck that. I'm not going. I don't like those odds. I get a 50% chance of splatting on the ground. I'm not doing it, right? But there's something about getting married. People just have to do it. They're just like, is this the line to lose half my shit? Awesome. This is going to be great. I can't wait to lose my car, my money. Oh, look, the line's moving. One step closer to my own personal hell. No, I don't think I could ever get married, man. Married dudes freak me out. Anytime you ask a married guy, what's it like being married, they always tell you it's good, but they always have a look on their face like they have like an appendicitis. You ever notice that? You're like, dude, what's it like being married? Like, you know, it's good. It's good. It's, no, it's good. It's enjoyable, you know. It's a lot of work, but, you know, I think when you meet that special someone, there's a connection, and I can't feel my legs. Let me just lean over here. You know, a woman completes a man, and some other metaphor.
Bill Burr is insane. Anywho, I'm 16 years into the game. Anybody who's seen any of my social media posts, no, I'm pro-marriage. I'm pro-marriage. I know it's not a popular thing to say, but I'm pro-marriage for a lot of reasons. But the title of today's show is Should You or Should You Not Get Married? I got a lot of friends, women, men of all ages, some younger considering getting married, some older considering getting married. Hopefully we'll touch upon all of it. If you have a question, while we're talking about it, a comment, something you want me to address, I think I can see the questions. I see Chuck Levy out there. I see Sonia Carter-Chapman. Thank you all for joining the show. So I do see some comments. If you have one, leave it up there because Gina B isn't here, and I only got a page of notes, but I got some good stuff. I did bring more than a page of notes. So first off, let's talk about the current landscape of relationships and why we're here. Anyone who obviously I do this show. I'm online probably more than the average person, but you see a lot of gender wars out here. You see a lot of women unhappy. You see a lot of balloon popping shows, which are crazy, by the way. I wish I'd come up with that. The balloon popping show is insane. But you see a lot of folks sort of unhappy. Now, this relationship person, I blame it on a few things. We have been force-fed media from all different places, and media is not what it used to be. If you can think about politics, you don't trust every news source. Some are, extra conservative, some are extra liberal, some are in between. I go to sites now, I got to look up, even if this is a reputable site or a reputable newspaper, an online publication. So the same goes for people who do podcasts, except for mine. Mine are all true, everything I say. Or at least when I tell you it's my opinion and it's close to the truth. But you got a lot of media that says, men are bad, women are bad. You had, what's my guy's name? Got caught cheating with his wife. Steven Jackson or whatever, Derek Jackson. You got the Derek Jacksons out there, nothing against Derek Jackson, but, if a man and a woman had an argument and over a candy bar, she ate 90% of it, Derek Jackson's going to tell you why that man was wrong for even wanting 10% of that candy bar. You got people like the redhead pearl, women this, women that are all bad. Truth in both places. But for whatever the reason, that's one of the reasons we have online dating, I think, has destroyed a lot of relationships. Why? Because on online dating, male or female, you're swiping, all you're concerned about is you. Usually the only metrics you can look at is how do they look, how much money they make. On the case of men, how does she look, and is she too ghetto or crazy for me to deal with, right? If you're not a guy who's, if you're not great looking, you're not 6 foot tall and over, you're not making a bunch of money, you're just not getting, women are skipping past you. Women today make more money than in years past. So when we think about the reason we got married in years past, it's for financial stability. It was more of an arrangement, even more so for the men. Sometimes you're marrying into a good family, and it was more of an arrangement. Families were, or the people getting married were dependent on families. Women were dependent on men. So, these days, and shout out, you'll rarely hear me say this, shout out to first wave feminism. Shout out to first wave feminism. If we did ever get it on tape, Kris Critic says shout out to first wave feminism for giving women the chance to do what they want to do, work what they want to work, make what they want to make, and almost make what the fellas make. And that's how it should be. Now, but you also have, with this online dating, you have some unrealistic dating expectations on the part of men and women. So you have these male incel sites that only say the men are right and women are wrong. And usually, because of women being more choosy, you do have a faction of men, they call them incels. And if anybody looks it up, that's a person who he can't get a date, probably doesn't have a lot of sex, probably doesn't have a lot of money. He's bitter. He's a bitter dude. And I would probably be bitter too if I were in that situation. But the issue is, on the macro level for a country, you don't want a bunch of guys who can't date. And that's when you start getting all these mass shootings. Oh, we're here now doing that. So this happened once before. When all the men came back from the war, they didn't have a place to work. Government put together all these manufacturing jobs. And when men can work, people get married, they got more money, life is good. But I digress. We also have a society where anything goes, right? Well, not anything. You cannot talk about, because I don't want to get canceled, can't talk about the alphabet people. Just don't do it. Can't talk about the JOOSs. Y'all saw it happen. They take you from being a billionaire to worth $400 million. But you can talk about everything else. All right, so you have people now where, and for whatever reasons, we won't go into drugs, we won't go into that. We have a lot of broken homes, right? So because of that, because of, music is more provocative, everybody's trying to get ratings. We got all these media sources, everybody's fighting over it, so it's more provocative everything. If a new rap song comes out, it's usually, if it's a woman, she is very cladly dressed, it's acceptable. If it's a guy who comes out, he's saying, be that, is very acceptable. Everything is acceptable. So what do you have? I can sleep with how many other people I want. We've devalued marriage. And it's become about me. We have the most narcissistic society I've ever seen. So, now you're like, well, shit, Kris, why do I want to get married? Because marriage is a beautiful thing. Now, I'll talk about, let me ask my producer. You're a young guy, Reese. Do you plan on getting married?
When I'm 60.
Smart man. I'm just playing. If my wife is watching, 60. Are you gonna get a younger woman?
I don't know. Man. I guess so. Like, to me as a child, I never seen like no marriages like work in my family, and everybody is with their second wife. Nobody is, or their second husband. You know what I'm saying? Nobody is with the first, and okay. I don't want to really go through that, right. Drama. Also, I'm waiting to like a good financial state, and like I don't want to marry into debt, right? All the other stuff. So like for me, it gotta be the perfect fit, and everything has to be right. I don't want to just marry you because I've been with you for a long time. Like, that's not the reason why you get married. Like, I thought you get married because you love someone and you can't live without them.
There you go.
Like, I feel like women, I'd be like, I've been here for 3 years. If you don't marry me now, and that, you know what I'm saying, and that forced the man's hand. And now it's like, is he marrying you for you, or is he marrying you, because you done, what I'm saying, made him marry you? And then when it don't work, it's like you kind of forced them because you said you was gonna leave him.
Okay. You didn't know you were gonna be part of the show, but I like your energy. Keep your mic handy. I'm gonna address that. First thing you said was powerful, and I think that's what a lot of us see. I've had this conversation with male friends, female friends. We just don't see a lot of good examples. Early 1900s, I've said this before on the show, black folks particular. I mean, America was married more, but black folks in particular, this early 1900s, post-slavery, we broke, Jim Crow, we had the highest percentage of people married. We had the lowest percent of children out of wedlock. Now, again, we won't go into all the societal factors that weighed in, but we are where we are. So today, we just don't see it. We see about a broken up marriages, like you said, second, third marriages. I was in the minority. Parents married 54 years before my dad passed, but it was commonplace. It's like, man, you got a whole dad over here. What's happening? So I get it. In our community now, we're right around 30%. About 28% of black women are married. About 34% of black men are married. That's low. White folks down a little bit, around 50%. Asians, I don't know how they hold it down. They're in the 60s or somewhere. But again, that's dropping from being over here. So the people who are around you, shout out Chuck Levy just said, that, influence their worldviews. Exactly. If you've only seen, a woman yelling at a dude on the phone, you didn't pay, you ain't do this, you tend to think that, men aren't that nice, or, women are like yelling. Whatever the case, you become what you're around. So before we get into that, I like that you said you did want to get married. You do have children, so I'm not even going to say anything about the age. I get that. I honestly thought you were going to say you want to be like Neo and have 3, 4 wives. But
man, listen, he just got the 4th one.
That's a headache. We only talk about him at the end of the show because that's a headache, bro. It seemed good in my 20s, but now I'm like, are you kidding? I'd be like, all y'all better wear the same size clothes. Y'all gonna drive the same little car. It's one cell phone and turn them lights out. It's past 10 o'clock. That's how it would have to be. But here's why people do get married, and I'll keep them quick. And this is why you should get married, people. Even before I go into love being the first one, I'll say shared values. If you talk, I believe in talking to winners, right? If I'm taking when I first started my career, I aligned myself with people that were winners, I became mentors to them. So relationships are the same way. So sure, you can look at everything around you that says this doesn't work, or you can look at and talk to the people who win. So I would say over time, shared values, when people believe in trust, integrity, loyalty, those things can keep relationships together. If we can communicate during conflict, that's the hardest thing today. I'll probably get into that a lot. Because as soon as we get mad, we jump in our feelings, right? We jump in there, I just want to choke you. And then a lot of brothers are locked up in jail because of that. Because their emotions got the best of them, and they snapped all, And that's just not how you handle things. You've seen women, they'll be beautiful and kind, and as soon as something goes wrong, F you and your mama. That's why they put it online. That's why you don't get an erection anymore. Chump, as soon as we let our emotions rule us. But love, companionship. If you're younger, if you want children, that's the reason to get married. Sometimes people get married because they want a certain status. There's nothing wrong with that. But these are reasons why, people do get married. Some get married because of their religious beliefs. They don't want that woman out here living in sin. She doesn't want her children. She wants her children to have a father. She wants to have the same last name. These are reasons that people get married. But the companionship, the shared values, those are the reasons to get married. People who are against marriage will say, well, that's not natural. Because I will tell people, a lot of people, I know a lot of dudes that want to be grooms. I know a lot of women that want to be brides. But I will tell anybody, you need to know what it's like to be a husband, to be a father, or to be a wife before you jump into this institution. And I think people make light of it. When people put up videos of weddings. You'll see all the celebrations. You'll see the receptions. You'll see the dance from the girls, but you don't see the solemn vows being taken. You don't. Catherine Bromer says, men don't have the strength for multiple wives. They need to stop with that madness. First off, Catherine Bromer, and I don't want to give any brothers any ideas. Neo has already thrown it out there. In most areas of the world, multiple wives is the norm. Here in America, only within the last 1,000 years, have monogamy in this country became the norm. So it's been done. You got to have the pockets for it. Everybody got to be on the same team, and that's just not the U.S., so that's not even today's conversation. That's another show. But you have to be on the same page as each other. Now, let's talk about this. Because we're going to get to, we laying the groundwork. We're going to get to should you or should you not be married, but that's why you should get married. But we're also going to talk about some reasons why you don't get married, right? And if these are the reasons you're thinking about going into marriage, or if you have these, what should I say, characteristics, it's not for you. And I'm telling everybody, I do a lot on relationships. People think, oh, Kris, man, you're bashing single. That's a new word now. You're bashing single people. You're bashing women. No, I'm giving a point of view. And if you've thought about getting married, and if this is you may not want to, because it's not for everybody. And you are not a bad person if you don't. If you are a person who has believes in, and you couldn't live without, extreme personal freedom, it may not be for you. You just can't pick up and go. Somebody has to be, okay, you got to make plans with them. You can't just go up and say, you know what, I'm going out. I'll be gone a couple of days because I usually do that to get away. Can't do it. You can't say I'm going over with guys. You can't say you're going with that mixed group on a ski trip because that's what you do every year. Can't do it now. Ladies, if you take that ladies trip and he knows half your crew are some hoes, he might not be comfortable. So, I mean, hoes got to live too. They vacation. I ain't tripping. I ain't judging them. I'm not bashing them. I'm not bashing hoes. You got to tell everybody you're not bashing. But that might be something that you need to discuss. So if you are a person, you know, my freedom, I'm just a walk the earth and smoke type of person, unless they are too, I don't know if marriage is going to work for you. I mean, I tell people, they say, what's marriage like? I was like, oh, what's it like? The real? You can get somebody mad, you forgive them, and then you start over again, and you do it like that. Well, what makes the difference between people married? Kris, you've been married, X amount of years. But we just decided not to leave. Still have problems, just like a single person. Still have the same life issues, but now you got to negotiate both people's life issues and both people's concerns. Sonia Carter Chapman is watching. Sonia, if you ever want to add in something, because I've had her and her husband here as guests on the show, they could write a book on this. I should have had them on here. I might bring them back. The next one, compatibility. If one person's always focused on the goals, planning the week, planning our savings, what are we going to do? How are we going to vacation? What's the vision? And one person is, all they care about is the bigger TV to play their new PlayStation, probably not going to work. I don't care how good he looks or how good she looks. I don't care how big it is. Long term, ain't going to work. And we've seen when personalities don't matter with a lot of celebrities and athletes, you get a young, handsome dude with a new contract signed to $1 gazillion, and he'll have a dime. And when their girlfriends, you'll see all the best things said, oh, they're going to look good. 2 years in, she breaking and taking them for half. Oh, that's another reason. And I'm not bashing ladies, but the laws, they make it kind of easy for women to leave. I know they're changing, but y'all usually get kids. There's usually some alimony paid. Not alimony, child support. Believe it or not, people don't pay that much alimony. So I won't even throw that in there. And there's less of a stigma, getting divorced now. People are like, oh, it's Tuesday, I think I'll get divorced. So that's another one. If you are a person and you've been dating someone, as Reese said, 2-3 years, and you notice when she gets really upset, because now you've seen a good synopsis. Has she slapped you? Has she thrown something hot on you? Has he grabbed you real hard, wanted to shake you? I mean, like, for real? And y'all arguing over what was for breakfast? The red flags, people. We overlook them all the time. How do people treat other people? We overlook them all the time. Societal expectations. If you are getting married just because your family's pressuring you, you think it's time, your brother got married, your sister got married, you got 4 siblings, they're all married to successful people, and you work part-time as a kindergarten assistant, that's not a reason for you to get married. That's how marriages fail. And the last one, if you are in a financial bind, I get it. But that's not the reason to get married. Now, make no mistake, I believe, this is Kris the Critic, ain't nobody else, Kris the Critic. If the values are there, if the respect is there both ways, not just women submit to man, man, you also submit to woman, right? If that is there, it shouldn't matter who makes what. As long as, ladies, remember this, because men can go a little longer with the lights out than y'all. Somebody got to have some money. or together y'all got to be able to pay the bills. So those are reasons, why not to get married. Now, let's talk about happiness, right? And this is where I tell people your friends will keep you single. I've seen a lot of posts, primarily, I'll call them the single unhappy faction. Married people, they all unhappy. Blah, 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 blah. They all unhappy. I know people, they cheat. All the married men cheat. Y'all heard it, right? Survey, 2022 general survey. Married people, on pretty much most surveys, are more happier than people not married. 37% versus 19% in this particular survey. Again, look up General Social Survey of Married People 2022. Now, caveat, single women consistently live longer by a couple years. So, you ain't got a husband, we do get on y'all nerves, so it is what it is. But happiness, people, as I tell people, is a feeling that even single people sometimes are happy and unhappy. We don't tell them to just stop, talking and looking at themselves. You fix something, you change something. So that is what, if you're going to get married, you have to have a spirit of giving. My spouse's happiness or contentment should be as equally important to me as mine is to them. If you aren't one of those people, or you gotta wait, well, I'm gonna see what he do for me first. And then, cause a man gotta first do X, Y, and Z before I can be in my feminine state. Fuck that, run, fellas, do not marry that. That's like a man saying, well, I can't be masculine until she acts real nice to me. Then I put on my masculine hat. Now, people should be who they are. And I'm not picking on anybody, but I've heard, I'll say something like, you shouldn't base a relationship on money. And then someone will say, why you always telling sisters to be with a broke man? And I'm like, what? The words that came out were, a relationship shouldn't be solely based on money. I'm just saying all the brothers broke out. That's not what I'm saying. So you have to look at, when people do that, they've had some trauma. And I have 3 daughters on the 5th floor, 3 daughters. And I tell them, don't date anybody broke. So I'm all for a woman dating somebody with money. But if that's the only reason you date them, probably not gonna work. And sisters don't care why a brother who's 35, 40 years broke, I've never heard a woman say, well, you gotta understand, he didn't have a dad and he had some challenging problems when he was younger. No, fellas, they say you broke. So why, men, I empathize with the sisters out there who've had all this trauma, but it's not yours to fix if you're not already in a relationship. Walk from those, because look, if you're trying to be married, you can't be in the healing business. That's for a therapist. All right, we always try to fix people. I've seen countless women try to fix broken men. Those men have to, number one, they got to want to be fixed, and it has to be somebody who's qualified to help them get help. Same with women. So let's just dispel. I'm not saying don't be with somebody who's had some extensive trauma, but it should be a red flag to keep it a buck. If you're talking to a guy and he's like, man, my dad used to just lay it on me all the time, just whoop me for no reason, whoop my mama for no reason. What did somebody put up earlier? The environment that the worldviews they had, hey, that's a flag. Again, I don't care what he looks like. And fellas, ladies don't like when I say it. I'm going to say it. If she's been with 57, 85 people, and she's 30, you're not going to be 85 when you get married. She's not ending there. Now, are there exceptions? Of course. Do people get help and change? Absolutely. But 9 times out of 10, no. She's going to keep sleeping. Because for her, it ain't even sex. It's just, I got to feel validated. That's what I do to feel wanted, needed. So, and I put up studies and women say, you can't say nothing. And that's what, Reese, you said something earlier. I disagree. I got to help you out, young brother. No one forces another human to do something, unless they, whoop your ass, put a gun in your head. A woman can't make you do anything. A man can't make a woman do anything unless he takes it, and that's a crime. So people willingly make their own decisions. So again, I know we're in a narcissistic society. We make dumb decisions. Well, they tricked me. Your life is ultimately your responsibilities. Your outcomes are based on the decisions you make. You learn that as a kid, and all of a sudden we forget everything is everybody else's fault. Why? Because we see it in the media. You see it in politics. Somebody, I got to blame that on him. I got to blame that on her. No, your decisions a lot of times, mean something. So, thinking of that survey, I never really did think. They could have surveyed all those married people in year 2. Because the average marriage lasts like 8 years. So I'm like, when did they do that? Or did they survey the single people like during the holiday when everybody's sad? So surveys are used for directional purposes only, but they do mean something, right? You can't tell me that, black men just don't have jobs. And then I look up, here it is. Yeah, they do. So, and they actually do. So there we go. Yeah, the single women bashing married people is a bad thing. I don't know how we got. I know how we got there. Reese, you know how we got there? It's a theory. Since civilization began, I think men we learned how to manipulate nature. Let's take this wood. Let's make fire. Let's go build. This is steel. Let's make a wheel. We can push something heavy. Women have to watch some kids, so they learn to manipulate us. So, which is a lot of time you get the shaming stuff. I get it. We're imperfect people. But I do believe men do better with women, and women do better with men. We just have to pick better. And the only thing you can do better than picking better is working on yourself. So the answer is, should I get married? When you think about yourself, am I willing to learn that I'm not perfect? Am I willing to learn from that person that, maybe something I'm doing is not right? Am I willing to, because it's a constant during the work. Some people just don't want to be bothered, and you're not wrong for that. But this is, should you get married? Because, even though people who got divorced, hopefully they're in a better place, it's a lot of heartache and turmoil. And speaking of, think about this. These are some not so good stats from the CDC. Current divorce rate, as I said, is 42%. There are 86 divorces every hour. Every hour, 86 people get divorced. 230 people, even with the divorce rate, still get married. In love grand. But that's down. It used to be a lot more. That's down. If you decide to get married again, as you saw, 60% of the second marriages don't make it. So I'm always advising folks, if at one point you love that dude who bent down and proposed to you, unless it's something egregious and it can't get better. Jesus forgave. Did he stab your mama? Did he beat you? Was he addicted? Did he lose the house? I get those. But if you look at the top reasons for divorce, lack of commitment, grew apart, irreconcilable differences. I just got bored. Wanted something new. If you're thinking about getting married again, know that the chances are even more against you. That's all I'm saying. Because I've heard there are some people who get divorced and say, wow, that's the best thing. Whew. Best thing for me ever. And there's some people who say it don't mean it, but there's some who actually mean it. And there's some, if they're honest, they're like, man, I miss X, Y, and Z. That wasn't that bad. So think long and hard about it, because the difference is between those who worked it out is they made a commitment to each other that I'm going to stick to this person because life is going to be hard enough. So we going together. We going to get through it. You just lock your arm in mine. We going. And you go. So your spouse, who you choose as the father of your kid, should be the biggest decision you make. But let modern society they'll tell you it's your job. And I've been to a million funerals. I've never seen a headstone, here lies the greatest accountant that has ever walked the earth. Morgan Stanley wouldn't have survived without his accounting services. No. I would rather have some undying loyalty to that person that's giving me a child. If somebody knocks on the door, he's willing to go down and say, what's that going on? He's willing to take a bullet for me. I know we live in a country that protects us. We take that for granted, but it's like insurance. You think you don't use it, but every year a lot of people do. Who's gonna wipe your butt when you older, Reese? Reese, who's gonna wipe your butt when you older? Hey man, these are real questions. That's love right there. Because the company you work for ain't gonna wipe your butt. Can't believe I said that. Oh, there are people who even get married the third time. 73% of those don't make it. So if you didn't get it right the first time, you just practicing, doing it again. You're probably not gonna work. Millennials, believe it or not, I got two schools of thought on when to get married, because I try to go back and forth on advice I give my young daughters. One of them just got married to a hell of a guy. Hope she doesn't screw it up. Just joking if she ever watches the show. Millennials are waiting longer to get married, and their divorce rates are going down. People who get married the most get married 18 to 24, with one exception, because that is a sweet spot for me when women should start looking. We're going to that later. But those people who are younger, who have the same religious commitment, tend to stay together longer. He hasn't been out in the streets for a while. She hasn't been sleeping around a while. They're happy with that person. People always wonder why multiple partners or the addition of partners changes things. I won't toss out the numbers, which they've done, which show that, those people are more likely to cheat or divorce. More likely doesn't mean they will. If you can think of before you ever kissed a girl or boy, ever, your life was probably just great before then. You had some of the best memories ever. But once you kiss a boy or girl and then kiss another one, you sort of like kissing them. You want to kiss different ones. And it makes it hard to just kiss one. I've been there. It's kind of how intimacy works. So if you're considering a person who's not very disciplined, who never seems content, they probably won't be content with you. If you are a person who's never content, who, you get it, how many times you heard he was a good guy? He did everything. The sex was decent. He looked good. He paid some. I just didn't know. You like looking over the fence. Own it. There are men like that. There are women like that. You probably won't make a good spouse. I'm just saving you some heartache. Reese, any truth to that?
Well, I wouldn't know. I'm not married, so.
You're like, hey, man, I could be old forever. No, I'm just playing. That's hilarious. There's also, believe it or not, there's an area where divorces are spiking. We had a brother on the show. He has a whole bunch of professional licenses. Khalid Scott. And he's the first one. These great divorces. People, look at my goatee. People over 50. Divorces have tripled since 1990. Think about that. People over 50 are getting married because I am probably logical to a fault. Because I don't think everybody has a plan after that. Like, I do think for women, if you keep yourself in relatively good shape, there's always somebody to sleep with. So if you're a woman, you got a boatload of money somewhere, I get it. If you don't mind just waking up by yourself, I get it. Fellas, for men, as throughout your life, you got to have something for women to find you valuable. So if you're an older, you're like out here like Jack Nicholson or what's the guy that's on the Titanic? Leonardo keeps a 20-something-year-old girlfriend. If you got paper like that, I can see it. But for the rest of everybody, I'm going to ask you, who going to wipe your butt? But no, seriously, you need people, if you want companionship, if you're a person who enjoys companionship, marriage might be for you. I'm going to talk about, we got a few minutes left, and it's probably the most important stuff you're going to hear. These are, and I hate doing this to folks, because inevitably they're going to be somebody you're bashing. But these, I'm going to go real quick over the personality types that tend to not work out most. Not saying that it's foolproof, but these are the personality types they probably won't work out. And then I'll give you, the 3 jewels. If you can handle this, you got a good shot with somebody. If you are with a person, or you are a person, if you criticize the other person all the time, but you don't take criticism well, now I'm not saying they ain't a screw up, but if you yourself can't take criticism well or they don't receive it, even if you're right, it's not going to work. If you think somebody is beneath you, you used to see that with a lot of guys, they get a wife and they just think, honey, they get a wife, because a man should marry somebody smart, right? Because even if he leaves, she's got to be right there. And if she gives a better idea, he's supposed to be able to say, you know what, that's right, thank you. But if you're one of these, I always think of these old black and white movies with a dude in a suit telling, almost talking to his wife in contempt. If you think somebody is beneath you, or you feel like somebody's always do that, they're not going to make a good person. Somebody's always defensive, always. There's some esteem issues there. Again, therapy helps. If you got great areas and other, see a professional. I'm just giving you the heads up. That's what I do. Or if somebody stonewalls all the time, right? They don't want to talk about it. They go real silent on you. Communication, people. We all communicate well when things are great. Hey, babe, I got you a new car. Oh, my God, you're the great. You just understand me. Hey, I'm not really feeling appreciated. I feel X, Y, and Z. I mean, dang, last week y'all see the difference? You gotta nip that. You gotta nip that. All right. Then this is what you see a lot of, I don't want to pick on my young sisters, but I see it. I hear it in the music. I call them the client type. Serve me. You're here for me. What's in it for me? And I tell you, this online dating has made it, because people are like, well, how can I make my life better? And anybody who's been married any length of time is going to tell you, this is a job of service. This ain't a job for just, if you serve well, and you pick somebody who shares your values, and of course it's going to come back in spades. But this is a job for service. So if you think, because you got some high mileage coochie, that somebody should just pay all your bills and you're going to get this real respectable dude and the best catch ever, you're going to make a horrible wife and he's going to make a horrible husband to you. Sonya Carter Chapman, I see you watching. Tell me if I miss on any of these. The scorekeeper. Well, your woman, you bring up an issue, and instead of addressing the issue, he starts bringing up some stuff you did. Well, you did X, Y, and Z. This is the only thing this week. You did 3 things about 1. Again, if you want to date, fine. You want to be a spouse? Nope. If someone acts like that, nope. If you're already there, work it out. Because I read you the percentage of the second marriages. That's going to be even worse. And work on yourself. The roommate situation. I hate to say that. I know some brothers that some sexless marriages, Reese. Reese, sexless. Paying big bills. Raise kids.
It be like that sometimes.
Hell to the no.
Listen, sometimes when you hustling, man, you really don't got, you know what I'm saying, like the time. So I won't call it sexless. It's just time, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you can't do it like you're 20, you know what I'm saying? Like you can, but it's the time.
No,
so.
I don't know if you hear me. I don't know if you hear me. I'm saying years without sex.
One of them is having sex.
Right, that's all. That's what you know. Right. Always. That young man is wise beyond his years. Fellas, if you're not, somebody probably is. All right, we won't get into that. But if you're in a roommate situation, male or female, if you've been dating a while, don't marry. I got a couple more. If one person always has the martyr complex, they're always the victim. I hear a lot of men more so than women complain about this. There's a lot of reasons, societal reasons for that, but it don't make it right, right? There are men with it too, but if I'm always the victim in the last 3,000 disagreements, clearly you don't need to be with me or you're on some bullshit. One of the two are true. If someone is, you ever see in person, I call it like angry time. So you might see a sister and brother say, hey, can you go see, you take dad this week. Because dad is always fussing. Think of the Archie Bunker type. I don't know how Edith, I just dated myself. I'm 75 years old, if you know who Edith and Archie is. Archie was a real old bigot racist dude. It was hard to deal with, but somehow his wife did. If you're dating an Archie Bunker type, if you are finding, because as we get older, we do become a little more stuck in our ways and everything around us seems to bother us. But if you're with somebody like that who's just intolerable, just save your time. I do not care how many boxes they check. And if you have, I don't just call this person a repeat offender. I call them a repeat offender on multiple offenses. They keep trying to find ways to screw up, and you forgiving, the women, the men, the lack of attention and bill pay. All of them, and they just won't even address it. Yeah, just cut the cord. Now,
hold on. You actually have someone actually wants to join in your show and have a question for you.
Who might this human be?
I can bring him in
right now.
Right now, I can bring them in right now to you. They want to ask you a question. They say they're watching the show. They've been texting. They said, can I join? I sent them the link. I thought you could come in and get.
I don't know if you know my past life. We don't bring in anybody. No. We don't bring in anybody.
Yeah, we don't bring in anybody. But I think I vetted this one. It's good.
Okay, 1 second before you do that. Hold the thought. Whoever's coming in. Okay, I'll save. That was the bad stuff, people. We're gonna see whoever's coming in. I don't know what he's cooked up here. But then we do have 3 good things to know when you should proceed with the green light on. And then that's how we'll wrap it up. All right. Who we got, bro?
All right, go ahead, caller.
Hello? Oh, damn. Can you hear me?
I can hear, but I can't see yet.
It's going to come up. Go ahead.
All right, go ahead.
I figured you'd probably know my voice. We had lots of conversations.
It is the friend. It is the good friend of our producer who has watched the show in person.
Yes, I have. Yes,
have you been watching this show tonight?
I have been.
Was it decent? Did I lie anywhere? Anything? How was it? Because you're a good critic.
I feel that
You miss Gina?
it was good. Your topic was great. It's just the fact that you went here, and it's like, wait, what are we doing?
You're a little staticky. So what did you want to specifically ask about? Because I got limited time.
I know you have limited time. So I know your topic is why or if you should get married. So if like how we had our previous conversation, I think with your daughters and what you tell them as young girls, like just on both sides, what should men look for? Like, you know, men, like African-American men, a lot of them haven't grown up in two-parent homes. And they're like, they're taking a chance and they're leaping. So like, what's one thing that you would tell them when they interact with a woman? What is the common ground like that they're going to look for this woman? Because men are the ones that propose. And as for a woman, what should we look for when you're saying that money is not the main be all?
It's real important though.
It is important because money pays bills.
All right,
but so you got married in college. I mean, well, after college, or you found your wife in college?
I met my wife when I was 15. I got married when I was over 30.
So what made you make that jump?
First, let me answer your 2 questions, and then you've asked 3. What do I tell boys, right? What do I tell girls? And then what made me say yes? Is that right?
Yep.
All right, so let me answer them in order. I like trying to address what people say. So first, I tell boys.
Well, men. Let's say men.
Men, boys, same thing. We ain't changed. We real simple. Men are simple creatures. We just make more money and dress better. But so remember that. So men have a tendency. First off, you got to think about how men are hardwired. Before we get to know your winning personality, looks draws us in the door. And we try to, as women do, maximize that. But you have to tell men when they're considering a wife, you first have to consider, does she like me? Right? Because men have a tendency, one of the biggest problems in society, I've done this, is simp out. What does that mean? You might be a young 27-year-old, nice little job finally, and you whining and dining this girl. And she's human. What if she's not really into him? She's going to take the dinners, right? She may even give him some, but as soon as somebody comes along that she really likes, she's going to go there. So how do you know if she likes me? Initially, and this is me, every man has his own thing. I need to know that you like me, not for what I have. So I'm not going to overspend on someone who hasn't given me reciprocity in the terms of affection, in terms of time, in terms of, compliments. I gotta feel it. Because how many times have men or women been with somebody, you just know they got all my attention. It's always you fighting for that attention. I need to see reciprocity back before I extend myself. And a man, and then he's got to be aware over time. Does she like dressing provocatively for others? That might not be a good wife because she's seeking attention elsewhere. How was she brought up? You cannot discount background, right? She had 4 sisters. They all strip. She hangs with them all the time. No, not to marry. Don't even waste your time. Why guess? Because we all like to think we all unique. There's somebody else like that. So, again, I go back to values. If you've been with her a year or so, no one's 100%, but has she been loyal? Have you trusted her? She kept commitments. She said she's going to do this. She does this on this time. Outside of her relationship with you, what's the rest of her life like? Man, she's got a nice job. She has a great relationship with her family. She has a great relationship with her friends. She hangs with women who are very respectable. And you look for things like that. Again, nothing is 100%. And ultimately for a man, you lay out a plan for your life. Because women can be more emotional. If the idea of a wedding comes up, they may be excited about being a bride, but they need to know what being a wife is like. Hey, it's not going to always be sunshine. How does she handle conflict? We've had an argument. Did she just snap off and lose it? We ain't even married yet. So if she says, well, wait a minute, let's talk about it because I definitely want to hear your side. You're right. I did so and so and so and so. I apologize for that. I didn't make you feel like that. I want to make you feel like that. I want to make this better. And maybe we can do it like this going forward. See, if a person, male or female, can be accountable and empathize with you, they care about you. So from a male standpoint, you have to be very direct. You have to be intentional. You have to know that she is, she respects you. If she respects him, and again, she's not seeking attention elsewhere. I see that. It's the biggest thing I wish I could change about our young women. They're always trying to garner the attention of someone through skin. And the nature of men, if they were taught, the best of men will take it. They'll accept it. I'll take it. But so that's what I would tell men. What I would tell women, conversely, just like I told the man with his money, how does he treat me before I gave him some? Because I tell people 80 years ago, a guy goes up to a girl, let's say he had bad intentions. She just had a big booty. Hey, I'm tall, I'm good looking, I got money, I want to hit. Well, back then she would have said, well, you got to take me out. I can see what type of person you are. And if he didn't want it all, he would leave. But the guy who really likes her, likes spending time with her, he ain't got to sleep with her right away. But too often, women lead with sex. It's like that used to be the commodity, that and children, that made a man commit. But now they just giving it away like you give away Skittles. So you got to pull that back and see, does he like me for me or because of what I do for him? So that's the biggest thing for girls. And then, similarly to the boys, who does he hang with? What's his family background? Was his daddy cheating with everybody? Did he have a stable home life? And I'm not saying discount a brother who did, but that's more to look at. How is he with finances? Does he have a stable job? Has he paid his own bills? I know dudes. I bought a house at 27. I know dudes who 50, but they living in somebody's basement. Right? I'm not saying that person's wrong, but has he held a lease consistently? Has he been on a job for, a year or two? Has he received any awards? What does the community say about him? Those are winners. So those are the things I would tell young people to look for. And me, I was big on trust. I married a person who I consider my friend, has known me forever, seen the best and worst of me. And for a man, fellas, you got somebody who still sees you at your best and worst and still wants you to be there and you feel that strong about her, don't even wait. I wish I'd have got married, 10 years before. Does that help?
That helps a lot. That helps a lot.
All right, now, Reese, if you think of something, just text him and he'll tell me. But I got 3 more things. I got
you got 3 more things?
The last 3 people, and I thank you all, tuning in. Should you get married or not? If you and the other person communicate well, especially under conflict, you're committed to each other, and you stated good or bad, better or worse, and they understand what that means, and you're willing to compromise. Those 3 things. It can't be all just for you, can't be all just for him. The happiness has to be equal. So communication, compromise, and commitment. Those are the 3 C's that I think make relationships work. That's all I got, people. Anybody got any questions? I usually have Gina looking for these comments. I'm going to read a couple. Shout out to Tasha Longleaf. I'm going to read a couple of these, Reese, and we'll close out. Men should look for women who really like them, who have great relationships with their family, who are their friends. I agree. Shout out to Laurencia for joining the show. She asked, how do you prepare yourself for marriage? That might be another show. But that's all I got for now, people. We'll get into something salacious next week. Thanks for joining the Kris and Gina show. Gina will be back next week. Kris the Critic. I'm out of here like last year. Peace and love.